Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and the coronavirus. Now, some of you may have heard that two people on the Los Angeles Lakers, two NBA players for the Los Angeles Lakers, were recently tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, the names of the players have not been disclosed at this time, and they're keeping it anonymous and confidential at this point in time. However, I want to look into some of the charts of some of the players on the Los Angeles Lakers that might have a higher degree of susceptibility toward this. The first player I was looking at was Anthony Davis. Now, it doesn't mean these players necessarily have it right now, but if they don't, they might still be at a higher degree of susceptibility for the coronavirus. Now, when I looked at Anthony Davis's chart, okay, his time of birth is not available online, so I had to improvise and do a solar sunrise chart where I put the sun at the same position as the ascendant. Now, the first thing off is Anthony Davis currently has transit Neptune, very close proximity to his natal sun. When you have transit Neptune hitting the sun, you could be at a greater susceptibility. There might be a stronger propensity to some illness or debilitation, issues with your vitality associated with a disease. Given that this is Pisces, a disease that that can't be eradicated, at least not at this present time. As many of you may know, there's currently no vaccine available that can eliminate this disease. And you're talking about, and also being in Pisces, one that could be rather obscure, nebulous, or vague at this time. Transit Neptune is also hitting it's very close to his natal Mercury at this time. And Mercury, of course, can be about breathing issues, and in this case could be disorders with breathing due to a disease. It can be, and again, being in Pisces, one that is associated with a disease that can't be eradicated. And Pisces energy is very dissolving and dissipating anyway. And you're talking about he has Mercury retrograde. When you have Mercury retrograde, that can already give a little increased proclivity for breathing issues. The ruler of his third house in his solar sunrise chart is in the 12th house, and that's another indicator of natally for having breathing. It could be some breathing limitations and issues. Now, because the third house can be associated with that. Now, another thing, what I noticed too, in Anthony Davis's house, sadly, I was talking about Kevin Durant the other day. And Kevin Durant had a cardinal Grand Cross configuration. And I'm looking at Anthony Davis's chart. He has a cardinal Grand Cross configuration, and Mars is one of the planets in it. Mars being in its fall in Cancer. And Mars in Cancer is not exactly known for having the robust vitality and energy anyway. Neither is the Sun in Pisces. This is no knock on Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis is a phenomenal basketball player. He plays, I mean, he's arguably one of the top 5 players in the NBA at this time. But what I'm getting at is you're talking about this cardinal Grand Cross configuration. It also involves Neptune, and Neptune can be about diseases. Mars can be about fevers and just your irritations in general. It could be things that just I see Mars as being that a kind of exasperating planet, that might make you, just give you general irritations, figuratively speaking, and it may also be accompanied with the physical issues in some cases, I believe, Mars. And you're talking about Jupiter is also involved, and Jupiter can be associated with sports. Also, Venus in Aries is involved in the cardinal Grand Cross configuration in Anthony Davis's chart. And the fact is, Venus can be related with coughing. Aries is very aggressive energy. Venus in Aries, it's in its detriment in Aries. And the thing about this energy, I mean, Venus, and this is something where I look at where Anthony Davis certainly has a greater susceptibility toward this. It doesn't mean, again, I'll emphasize this again, that it doesn't mean that he has it. the coronavirus, but he's at a greater risk for it, astrologically speaking. Now, another person I was looking at was Rajon Rondo of the LA Lakers. Now, Rondo of the Los Angeles, Rajon Rondo, he has the thing that I noticed, he has Mercury in Pisces as well, and transit Neptune is very close to his natal Mercury at this time. And again, going back to what I was talking about in Anthony Davis's example, when transit Neptune hits your natal Mercury, it could be the dissolving of your breathing. It could be some breathing issues that can be tied into a disease. And again, going back to the zodiac sign Pisces, one where it's a disease that can't be eradicated, at least at this present time. Transit Mercury is also hitting Rajon Rondo's natal sun in Pisces, and that could be an indicator of breathing issues, because you're hitting, the sun can be connected with the physical body. Yes, the ascendant is what dominates, is more dominant in the physical appearance, but the sun can still be about physical issues, debilitations. Now, I don't know Rajon Rondo's natal chart time either, because I don't have his natal chart, but I'm talking about the transits to his planets at this time. And the thing is too, when you look at and again, this tells me that Rajon Rondo could be at a little bit of a higher risk for this as well. And another person I looked at NBA superstar LeBron James. Now, LeBron James is having a number of these transits are hitting his 8th house, and it just, not to be overly foreboding or overly pessimistic, what have you, but still something to have a little cause for concern, because transit Pluto is in LeBron James' 8th house in his chart at this time, and Pluto, of course, can be about viruses. So it's something where he could be at a little bit of a higher risk for this. Now, the coronavirus, even if people get it, I know the fatality rate is still very low. So it's not something where people need to necessarily be in this, strong state of fear or trepidation, but it's still something where we still need to be a little bit concerned about. But anyway, what I had noticed too at this time as well, as far as LeBron James' chart goes, I believe transit Mercury is also near his natal Mars at this time as well. And remember that you're talking about, Mercury can be about breathing issues. The Mars can sometimes could at times be connected with something with some kind of physical issue, and Mars can also, you're talking about just irritations in general, things that could cause some kind of acrimony or anger. And when you're, again, going to the zodiac sign Pisces, something that could be connected with an issue, a disease that can't be eradicated. So those are some things that I noticed, that as far as looking at these the Los Angeles Lakers and some of the prolific players' charts, and that they may actually have a little higher level for in terms of proclivity or what have you to get the coronavirus. And it doesn't mean that they necessarily have the coronavirus at this present time, but they may be at a little bit more of a higher risk at this time than the average person. Another thing I wanted to get at is that LeBron James also has a transit North Node in Cancer in his 1st house right now. And when you have the North Node in transit, it can be about issues one may have to confront or address, and it can be issues with the physical body, being that you're talking about the 1st house, and it's not far from his ascendant. Now, another thing too is that LeBron James right now currently has the transit South Node in Capricorn closing in on his natal Neptune. We're talking about, again, Neptune can be connected with diseases, and the South Node can be about what we're going away from. So if he actually does, by some remote chance, if LeBron James does get the coronavirus, it could pass sometime relatively soon in the near future, because when you're talking about South Node being in transit, it could be about things that we're going away from. So those are some things I wanted to get at this time in terms of certain LA Lakers, NBA, any NBA people that uh, play basketball for the Los Angeles Lakers. It might be at a little higher risk than average for the as far as getting the corona virus goes. So anyway, people, well that's pretty much it right now as far as this YouTube astrological segment goes. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.